I'm here in Young, Arizona, or what used to be called Pleasant Valley. What you're about to see is a movie about the Pleasant Valley War. It'll be told in two forms: documentary interviews and traditional narrative filmmaking. We filmed many of these scenes in the places where this war actually happened, where these people were really killed. This is the story of the Grahams and the Tewksburys, two families who turned against each other.
The Pleasant Valley War. The bloodiest feud in American history. It cost far more lives than the battle between the Hatfields and McCoys and the gunfight at the OK Corral combined. Yet somehow, this tale, like many of its kind, is fading away in the pages of our country's history. Let us not forget.
Here they come now. John, so glad you made it.
Ed, it's beautiful here, just like you promised.
Jim Roberts, this is the man I told you about, my good friend John Graham.
Oh, well, welcome to Pleasant Valley, Mr. Graham. Thank you. Ed says you're from Ohio.
Yes.
In the year 1881, John Graham and his brother Tom Graham met the Tewksburys for the first time in a bar in Globe, Arizona. They wouldn't have come to Pleasant Valley if it wasn't for that meeting.
Now you have to remember, the Grahams and the Tewksburys were friends. In fact, the Grahams moved to Pleasant Valley at the recommendation of the Tewksburys. So what happened that turned such close friends into the fiercest of enemies? Now this man, James Stinson, comes to the valley, and he brings with him near 1,200 head of cattle. So he'd been a judge, so he knows the law. And a man that knows the law knows how to manipulate the law. So think about this. Stinson wants to be the cattle king in this region, but his brand is just a simple T symbol. Now anyone that knows a damn thing about cattle brands or cattle rustling will tell you that that brand is way too easy to manipulate and therefore steal. So, why would he do this? He's a smart man. Why would he set himself up to be robbed? Unless that's what he wanted to happen. Maybe he thought that was a good way to get rid of the competition.
I don't know how we're going to make it in cattle out here. Seems like every time we gather, 3 out of 5 head got that Stinson brand on them.
Yeah, he does swing a mighty wide loop for a newcomer.
He thinks he's some kind of cattle baron.
He does have an awful lot of cows. Maybe more than he needs. Now, Stinson, he's got his T brand, right? Well, suppose we just add an E to it. Tom and Ed.
Now, you're not talking about cattle rustling. As people get hung for that.
I ain't saying we go out looking for him. I'm just saying if a couple of Stinson cows wander onto our spread, why not add that E? Like you said, 3 out of 5 are his.
What the hell? He ain't gonna miss a couple cows gone.
That's right, brother.
By all accounts, both the Grahams and the Tewksburys stole cattle. It wasn't hard. You have to remember, this area was open range, so there were no fences for miles. The cattle herds would all blend together and then be separated at branding time. So it was really easy to accidentally gather up some of your neighbor's cows if they wandered onto your spread. Or if a neighbor's cow had a calf on your property, it was really easy to adopt that calf into your herd and brand them accordingly. Now, according to Jinx Pyle, he was not a violent man. He was married to a devout Mormon, and he never took any violent action against the Tewksburys or the Grahams, even though he knew they were stealing his cattle. He was trying to let the law take care of this problem for him. But some of his cowboys had other ideas.
I know that them Grahams and Tewksburys are stealing our cattle. But Mr. Stinson won't listen.
That's a pretty big accusation there, Uncle John. You got to be sure about before saying such things like that.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. I bet you, if we rode over there right now, we'd find Stinson beeves in their holding pen.
I think we do what Mr. Stanson say. He tell you, leave alone.
Now, what kind of foreman would I be if I did not look after my boss's interest?
Well, nothing we could do today.
The hell we can't. We could ride over there right now.
Mr. Gillian, this is a bad idea. I think we do as told by Mr. Stanton.
Either you saddle up and go over there with me right now, or collect your pay. And what about you? You coming?
I'm with you, Uncle John.
That's a good boy. Let's go.
Morning, boys. Who are you looking for?
You son of a bitch! Ah! Oh! Ah, come on, let's go!
You'll be fine. Go hitch up the wagon. We'll take him to his folks' place to heal.
Well, that's the story that Ed and his friends told. The other side of it is not much different, except for a few details. And you know, the devil is always in those details. The other side was Elijah didn't even raise his rifle. He was trying to get away, and Ed shot him in the back. That would not surprise me one bit, because Ed was known to be a man with a hot temper and also to be an excellent marksman. If he did, that might have been the moment when the Grahams started to question their allegiance with the Tewksburys.
The aftermath of this first fight didn't occur in the backwoods of Pleasant Valley, but in the court of Prescott in the winter of 1883. Ed and John traveled with their brother Frank, a frail man to begin with. They were accused of murder, but this was a pretty hard charge to make stick when the man they supposedly killed was still alive. It may have seemed for a moment that all the trouble had been resolved, but on this journey, another life was lost.
Frank, you okay? this one. All right. Frank.
Frank died during those cold months, and though it wasn't a bullet that took his life, his brother still blamed Stinson and Gilliland for starting this whole mess in the first place. Sad thing is, Frank wasn't even at that first gunfight. He was actually off running errands with his brother John. But he wasn't the last innocent bystander in this range war. Far from it.
Gentlemen, sit.
What can we do for you, Mr. Stinson?
A lot of my cattle have come up missing lately.
Yeah, we heard about that.
A lot of cattle. As you know, cattle theft is a very serious crime out here.
The hangmen for it.
I am hiring you both as range detectives.
Us? Detectives.
I already know who's stealing my cattle. Proving it is another matter. You will find evidence that will incriminate the Tewksburys. For your testimony, I will give you 25 cows and 25 calves, and I will forget about the fact that you were involved in these incidents.
We had nothing.
Your TE brand is shared between you and the Tewksburys, isn't that right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's not registered, which means that you have no legal right to those cattle. Neither you nor the Tewksburys. I suggest that you register that brand in your name, and your name only. I expect you to accept this offer within the next 24 hours, or if you choose to reject my proposal, I will draw my own conclusions and mete out my own justice. Good night, gentlemen. The truth be told, we don't know how it happened. We can't tell the reason why the Grahams decided to betray their friends, and neither can the historians who researched and wrote books about the war. It remains the ultimate mystery of this story. Could it really have been the cattle they received? That's hard to believe. Something had to have happened to cause the Grahams to betray them. Some have speculated that it was an affair with one of the family women that drove them apart. But that's an even harder sell, especially since the Tewksburys had no idea they had lost an ally until it was too late.
What the hell are we gonna do?
I don't know. Maybe we could talk to Ed.
Ed? No, we can't do that. He's a damn hothead. There's no telling what he'll do.
Ed's my friend. I can talk to him.
Yeah. You saw how your friend started shooting when Gilliland and the other ones come out. He's plumb off his rocker.
Well, what are we gonna do? Work for Stinson?
John, he knows we're stealing his cows. Did you hear him in there? Did you get his meaning?
There's just a lot of people to consider here. Family, children.
What about our families? What he said was we either hand over the Tewksburys or we hang alongside them.
I wish we could ask Tom and John Graham now, but they're long gone, along with anything that could lead us to the truth. One thing for sure, these men once called themselves friends. They were best of friends. We're now enemies. The stage has been set. The war has begun.
Deputy Hawk.
Morning, Ed.
Morning, Jim.
I have a warrant here for your arrest.
For what?
For cattle rustling.
There's more Stinson's crap?
No, this warrant was signed by Tom and John Graham.
What?
Now, I'm not going to have any trouble bringing you boys in, am I?
No, Deputy. We don't give you any trouble. We'll answer the charges.
The Tewksburys defended themselves in court again. But this tactical move by the Grahams and Stinson actually ended up backfiring against them. See, the Treaty of War, as Don Dodera calls it, was a public record. And the jury soon realized that these men were framing their rivals for a price. Not only were the Tewksburys acquitted, the Grahams faced charges themselves. But as you'll see time and time again in this story, the courts were not effective in bringing either side to justice.
This story has the breadth and depth of a Russian novel. It could be a Western version of War and Peace. It might take 10 hours to tell it all. As the fight began, more players entered the game. There was a hash knife outfit who, according to one source, brought with them many of the worst men who ever left Texas. They sided with the Grahams. The Daggs brothers were in the sheep business, hated by cattlemen. They made an allegiance with the Tewksburys. The list goes on and on of men who joined up and fought on various sides of this war. For now, we will focus on the central conflict. It is important, however, to acknowledge certain characters who would play a significant role in this bloody history.
William Graham, the half-brother of Tom and John, didn't arrive on the scene until 1884. Andy Blevins, sometimes known as Andy Cooper, showed up with his brothers, Hamp and Charlie, and their father, Mart. What followed them was an array of rumors of crimes they'd committed in Texas and Oklahoma. When they got here, they took over a house owned by a Mormon family who were away at the time. When the family got back, Andy refused to give it up. And the family did not have the guts to take it back from him. I gotta say, I don't blame them. Then there was Commodore Perry Owens. He was a legendary lawman, a killer of Indians, sometimes, they say, without provocation. Believe it or not, he ran with Andy Cooper. That shows the fine line in these days between cop and criminal. Commodore Perry Owens will play his biggest part in our story a little later on.
Now, what happens next is a little confusing. According to some sources, on July 24th, 1884, is where John Tewksbury paid John Graham a visit. There were also some Stinson cowboys present. This was the last goodbye between friends.
Not if I can help it.
Treacherous bastard. Hey, stay out of this. Can't believe you do this to your friends, you low-life scum.
Get off my land!
Nah, I ain't leaving until I say what I have to say. In fact, next time I see you, I'm gonna kill you. Don't do it. But what we can't figure out is that a similar incident happened the day before, so on July 23rd, 1884. According to these stories, this is where John Tewksbury pays a visit to the Stinson foreman. This story says John Tewksbury was accompanied by William Richards, Ed Rose, and George Blaine, a character with a sordid history who'd recently showed up to the area. Now these stories paint a different picture, and what transpires next is a lot more violent.
The Tewksburys are coming.
What do you want?
You're planning the rodeo. We're still on the board.
You're not welcome here. Except him. The rest of you, clear out.
That's no way to treat your neighbors. You should be more hospitable.
Like I said, Mr. Rose can stay. The rest of you get going.
Who do you think you are? Just because you're Stinson's boy, it don't matter to us.
The story of this war is full of such mysteries, and the closer you look, the more confusing it gets. Who killed who is not always cut and dry, and members of both sides of this fight seem to cross over to the other. Motivations aren't quite clear. I'll give you an example. One day, a Mexican sheep herder was shot. Some say it was done by the Blevins family, but author Jinx Pyle is certain it was done by a man named Bill Colcord. Now, Bill was actually friends with the Tewksburys, so why would he kill the sheep herder that they'd hired? Well, I guess Bill wasn't so crazy about sheep being on his land. He also, though, did not want to piss off the Tewksburys, so he did it and made it look like it was the enemy's doing. The killer's trail led straight back to the Graham Ranch.
So many historians try to make sheep the main motivation for all this violence. Okay, so yes, anyone that owned sheep was a direct target of the cattlemen, but it was just one of many factors, and it really didn't become a factor until the war had already begun. One of the sources in Jinx Pyle's book says, both factions in the Pleasant Valley War were cattlemen. The sheep that were brought into the valley under the protection of the Tewksbury guns were only an incident intended to harass the Grahams.
Now, sheep herders were not exactly the most popular guys in Pleasant Valley. Another one of them, named Samuel Shull, got in a big fist fight with Blevins. After giving Blevins a beatdown, he went back to his home, where he was soon shot in the face with a shotgun.
Shout!
It's never been proven, but it's quite possible that Blevins was the one who did it.
The reason that the Pleasant Valley War escalated to the point that it did was because it wasn't just the Tewksburys and the Graham families that were killed or killing people. People that were just passing through, cowboys, going from one point to another, were being killed. Some were found, others just went missing because wild animals, lions, hogs, would eat their bodies and they'd be gone. Mart Blevins, the head of the Blevins family, brought his boys up from Texas, running from the Texas Rangers. He joined the Hash Knife cattle drive to hide his trail and to get 3 square meals a day driving cattle. And they landed in the lush, tall grass of Pleasant Valley. What a haven for cattle, and what a haven for rustling. And rustle they did. In July of 1887, Mart Blevins disappeared. Some say it was the Tewksburys, but no one really knows for sure.
Morning, Mart. Where you headed?
Maybe out scalp hunting?
What?
Don't play dumb. We know your boy Andy put up $50 each for a Tewksbury scalp.
I don't know nothing about that. Get out of my way. I've got work to do.
You're a liar. You Blevins are all in it together. You guys don't keep secrets from one another.
Yeah, like killing our sheep herder. I suppose you don't know nothing about that either.
Nobody calls me a liar, especially 2 half-breed Tewksburys.
Mystery or not, the Blevins boys blame the Tewksburys for the disappearance of their father. And they sent out on a mission, along with the Hash Knife cowboy buddies, to find their father or to kill Tewksburys.
Howdy, Tom. Busy today?
Not really. Where you boys riding to?
We're out hunting.
You boys have got murder in your eyes.
We're hunting Tewksburys.
I'd love to get me one of them bastards. Wait up, I'm coming along.
They met in a saloon, and in a drunken, boisterous manner, they said the phrase, "Let's just start a little war of our own." That became the title of a book written by the late Don Dodera. That best describes what happened in Pleasant Valley. The boisterous talk was overheard, and when they showed up at the Middleton Ranch to kill Tewksburys, they were expected.
Hello in the house. Mr. Newton? It's us Blevins boys. We just want something to eat.
Get the hell out of here.
Whoa, Ed. We're just here for a meal.
This ain't a boarding house. Turn your horses and get.
Okay. Just calm down. Once again, no one knows who took the first shot. But it's a damn good guess that it wasn't the Blevins gang. It was not an ideal situation that they were looking for. Regardless, bodies of both men and horses fell. Blevins was shot in the head. Ed Tewksbury nearly was shot by John Payne. Payne's running for cover, and he's shot by Ed Tewksbury or Jim Roberts or both. Tom Tucker and Glaspie are both wounded. Glaspie walks 30 miles before he finds help. And without a single casualty, the victory goes to the Tewksbury side. Jinx Powell writes in his book that right after the shootout, a band of Apaches on the warpath come down and they look at the bodies and they see the guns out the ports and they take off as fast as possible. The defeated band comes back in a couple of days. They bury their dead. The ranch house had already been abandoned, but they burn it down anyway.
Now you're probably wondering, where was the law in all of this? Well, they were in Prescott, to be exact, a good distance away. So trying to stop a blood feud in Pleasant Valley wasn't quite like taking a walk down to the OK Corral.
I'm looking for the Tewksburys. I understand you gentlemen are just the ones to help me find them.
About time you law dogs did something about them.
How do you mean?
They've been running roughshod all over this valley. Ain't held to no account.
Well, you know Prescott is a long ways from here. And if no one reports it, then how do we know what's going on out here?
They're thieves and murderers. You gotta take them all in.
You know, with claims like that, I'm gonna need some hard facts. And if they're true, I'll go after them.
Oh, I'll give you the facts.
Sheriff! Wake up! The horses are gone.
What?
The horses, all of them. The Tewksburys got them. They left this note with our man on night watch. They got the drop on them.
We found your horses wandering loose. With all the rustling going on in the area, we took them for safekeeping. You can come by our ranch on your way out of Pleasant Valley to reclaim them. Ed Tewksbury.
Which one of you is Ed Tewksbury?
I'm Ed. You must be Sheriff Mulvinen.
Damn right I am. And how dare you steal our horses?
Those are some mighty strong words.
It's the truth. You even left a note with my man.
Your man could have woke up with his throat slit.
What?
That's what a wrestler would do, or an Indian.
Fact is, your whole posse could have woke up with their throat slit. A lot of dangerous men lurking around in these parts.
Are you threatening me? I'm the law.
You're the law in Prescott. Up here, we don't have much use for such titles. What we're trying to say is, take your men and go back to Prescott while you can.
What are you saying to me?
You're a smart man. What kind of risk do you think these posse members are willing to take? What if, say, some of our friends come along and stop you as you're trying to take us back to Prescott?
What would you do? I have a warrant out for your arrest.
I'd take your men and go home.
Go back to Prescott. We'll be along eventually.
Well, I'm gonna need my horses back then.
I'll have them taken over to the Perkins store.
Now, this wasn't the first time that Mulvinen was told to stay away. Months earlier, he'd made his first attempt to quell the conflict.
Don't turn around.
I'm Sheriff Mulvinen, and I'm looking.
I know who you are and who you're looking for. Leave Pleasant Valley. You will be killed.
He was warned by not just one, but both sides.
I'm Sheriff Mulvinen, and I'm looking.
I know who you are and who you're looking for. Leave Pleasant Valley, or you'll be killed.
So for the time being, there was no law in Pleasant Valley, except what each man made for himself. The sheriff, he smartly decided to return to Prescott.
John!
Before the boy died, he confessed that it was Ed who's the one who done it, but a man by the name Jim Hawk took the blame for his murder. Jim claims that he was there looking for John Graham with a warrant and mistook Billy by mistake. And he states that Billy opened fire on him, and he said that he just had to put a bullet in him. The only thing that came from this murder was just more hatred between these families.
After Ed got away with what the Grahams believed to be the murder of William, they and their allies were more united than ever. They came back at the Tewksburys with a vengeance. On September 1st, 1887, while Ed was in the house with John Rhodes, his friend, and the women, John Tewksbury and William Jacobs went out that morning.
Jacobs was shot in the back. John Tewksbury was shot in the back of the neck. One source in Pyle's book says that John Tewksbury was found with clumps of his own hair in his hands, proving it must have been a very painful death. In their next step of retaliation, the Grahams laid siege to the Tewksbury cabin.
God damn you, Graham! Where's my brother? He's dead! So's Jacobs! You're next!
Let us come out and take care of the bodies.
No, we're gonna feed him to the hogs, just like you did to my dad.
That was my husband! You son of a bitch!
I'm gonna kill every goddamn Graham that walks the earth!
See anything?
Nothing.
They ain't going away. We need some help.
Then I should sneak out and get some.
As soon as it's dark.
If I seen that saloon again,
Damn,
I'll slap
Graham.
6 ways
They're
Sunday.
right at the Tewksbury farm. We need your help now.
Get on him and ride the pace and get the law now. Go! Come on. Ed, it's Joe Boyer. Got John Rhodes with me. We're coming in. Don't shoot.
After the siege on the Tewksbury place, Andy Blevins Cooper made his way up to Holbrook with some of his brothers. Now, Holbrook was not exactly a haven of peace either. According to one source, in 1886, there were 26 shooting deaths there. To put that in perspective, the entire population of the town was only 250 people. While there, Andy did a whole lot of bragging about the killing he'd done in the war. And soon enough, the pressure was on the sheriff of Apache County to do something about it. The sheriff at the time? Commodore Perry Owens. Now don't forget, Perry and Andy had been friends. As Pyle writes in his book, they had ridden together, killed Indians together, drank whiskey together, and even courted the same girl. Maybe that's the reason it took Perry so long to catch up with Andy. Regardless, on September 4th, that's exactly what he did.
Now what you see behind me is the actual Blevins house, where Commodore Perry Owens and the Blevins brothers had their gunfight. As you can tell, it's changed a lot throughout the years, and the city of Holbrook has grown up around it. But it was important to us to film on the actual site and be authentic. This is the building where it all went down, and this is the street where Commodore Perry Owens walked down to finally capture Andy Blevins.
Andy,
What you want?
I have a warrant for your arrest.
What's that warrant for?
It's for stealing them horses. Talked about this before. Are you ready?
Give me a minute.
Andy, don't do it. Andy? That version of the gunfight is how both witnesses and Sheriff Owens describe it. I'm now going to read you an actual transcript from Owens' testimony from the inquest. I says to Cooper, I want you. Cooper says, what do you want with me, Owens? Says, I have a warrant for your arrest. Cooper says, what warrant? I spoke to him about some time ago from stealing horses. Cooper says, wait. I says, Cooper, no wait. Cooper says, I won't go. So I shot him. There's always two sides to the story when a lawman shoots a criminal. It's a very different time and place. Violence and death was a constant in people's lives. Witnesses say the gunfight took less than 1 minute, which left 3 dead and 1 wounded. And despite being shot at, Owens escaped the battle unscathed. Commodore Perry Owens became a legend that day, which only further inflamed the feud. Owens-Blevins, who was also in the house that fateful morning, tells a different version of what took place. Is Andy here?
Yes, of course. Andy, someone's here for you.
I want you, Andy. As you can see, there are some discrepancies about what took place that day. Owens was never indicted for the killings. They were all ruled self-defense by coroner's juries that were brought in to review each death. Although some viewed Perry as a legend, he was soon replaced as sheriff of Apache County. Perhaps his killing ways had served their purpose. No matter what happened that day, it only further put fuel on an already raging fire.
Put your hands up! You are our prisoners. Ground!
Why didn't you surrender? We wouldn't have to kill you.
I didn't know it was you.
After the failed arrest that led to their death, the sheriff continued on to round up as many outlaws as that he could. The Tewksburys, well, they finally surrendered. Tom Graham, on the other hand, he fled, but he was later captured down in Phoenix. Trials were held, but nothing came of them. The conventional law once again proved inadequate in stopping this war. You see, a different type of justice was necessary.
We hear you've been bragging about making Marianne Tewksbury into a widow. Well, now we'll see how Lizzie Rose likes being one. Now, it's not clear if Ed was the one who killed Al Rose, but he is confirmed to have ridden with the vigilantes. A fact that makes their mission more of a one-sided quest than an objective crusade. Al Rose was killed not far from his cabin, because unlike Tom Graham, who was smart enough to get out of the valley, well, Rose stuck around, and he paid the ultimate price. A group of vigilantes was formed to finally clean out the rustlers.
Men were hanged, others arrested. Some fled and went on to live normal lives, even becoming sheriffs and deputies after they'd turned away from their outlaw ways. The violence did continue, but with Tom Graham, the last of the Grahams, gone from Pleasant Valley, it was nothing like it once had been. However, what happens next is the most incredible part of our story.
Curfew's in town.
It ends now.
It was the morning of August 2nd, 1892, when Tom Graham was killed in the city of Tempe, Arizona. His assassin, Ed Tewksbury, was accompanied by that loyal family friend, John Rhodes. After the killing, the two men went their separate ways. Rhodes was arrested in the city, while Ed made his way back to Pleasant Valley.
Now, many people believe it's impossible that Ed could have killed Tom. See, Ed was seen in Pleasant Valley on the afternoon of August 1st. The murder occurred at 7 a.m. on August 2nd. Ed was also seen in Pleasant Valley the afternoon of August 2nd at a dance. So, in order for him to have killed Tom, he would have had to cover 250 miles on horseback in less than 30 hours. But that's exactly what he did. Now, this amazing feat of riding would have been the perfect alibi, except that a couple of witnesses saw him both at the scene and on his escape route. So Rhodes and Ed were both arrested and went to trial. Rhodes had his own set of alibis in the form of prominent businessmen that said he was with them at the time that Tom was shot. So furious was Tom's widow at the acquittal, she tried to shoot Rhodes in the middle of the courtroom. And for good or bad, she was unsuccessful. But Ed was actually convicted. But of course, on a technicality, he had to be retried. And the second trial ended in a hung jury. So, for the final time, the law was unable to convict any of the combatants of the Pleasant Valley War. Ed Tewksbury returned home a free man. The last man.
After 10 years of fighting and nearly 50 dead, the Pleasant Valley War was one of the main contributors in delaying Arizona's statehood for another 20 years. But what do we learn from this story? Historians have researched this for years. Countless books have been written. Other films have been made. But will we ever really understand what started this fight? We can't know the hearts and minds of the Grahams and Tewksburys, and we probably never will. But we do know one thing for sure. If you live by the gun, you die by the gun.